wear them awfully well. Kevin Willard, Selton Miguel, and Julian Reese are with us. So let's start there, Kev. Before I start, Selton, where do you get shoes like that?
The store.
Because they're not at the stores that I shop at, or at least they're not trying to sell them to me. Kevin, welcome in. First and foremost, obviously, with these guys and the 17 other schools that are here, it's a different look league for everybody, and so everybody has a new start to the season.
It is, but I think it's exciting. I think, I think the league has become the best basketball conference in the country. We go coast to coast. You get from New York to LA, so I think it's new. Your rosters are new. You got guys walking around that coming from different conferences. But I think the fact that we have such a strong basketball conference, we have such great players. It's an exciting time.
And you have a face that's very familiar to Big Ten fans in Julian Reese, and then Selton's kind of a new look for folks who haven't seen him play in the past. Let's start with Julian, a known commodity in this league. What has he meant to your program, and where can he continue to get better this coming season?
Yeah, I think, Julian's one of the best centers in college basketball, not just this conference, but in all of college basketball. I think the biggest thing that he has done is he's really matured and become a leader. He's one of those guys that I can depend on in the locker room, in practice. I know what I'm going to get from him on the court. Obviously one of the better, I think the best center in college basketball, but I think his leadership has really been good in a time when, Selton's coming from somewhere else, Jacoby's coming from somewhere else. We have a whole bunch of new guys coming in. He's been a real rock on the leadership.
Julian, how important has that been, and how much of a focus has that been for you as you've gone through your career? You've always been productive, but to perhaps maybe be more of a leader to the younger guys and some of the transfers, as chemistry can be such an issue right now in the world of college basketball.
With such older transfers coming in, it's kind of easy. Older guys that got that veteran role already, like Selton, like Jacoby, just upperclassmen. That makes it kind of easier. And also with such highly talented guys like Derik, being so easily coached and so much of a sponge, it just makes it easier on me, lights off my shoulder. It just makes it easier for me overall.
For you, Selton, why was this the place that you wanted to play college basketball this season?
Just coming to Maryland was the best option to come in, just because of the culture. And I look at Coach Willard just like he let the guards play, so I just feel like I wanted to win and being somewhere that used to go to the tournament, so I want to be in the tournament for my last year.
And obviously, for those not familiar with your background, you're from Angola, another former Terp, Bruno Fernando, also from that country. How much did you talk with Bruno, either during the decision-making process or even before you decided to make it?
We talked both times. This is my guy. This is like my distant brother. We talked since I came to the States. He was a big influence to make my decisions. Just, I want to come to Maryland to continue his legacy. Have two Angolas that play in Maryland University, so it was big to me.
Now, what was the journey like for you? Because I understand until you were a teenager in Angola, then spent some time in Portugal before eventually coming to the U.S. as a high schooler, and now a couple of different colleges to play college basketball. I know we don't have the time in the world to explain the entire journey, but what's the kind of Cliff's Notes version of what it's been like for you?
It's been a motivation, it's been a roller coaster, being from country to country, places to places, So I just use that as a motivation, keep going every day. As my family, I talk to my family every day, even though they're far. So, just being able to come in every day and then be with those guys and being Coach Willard. And, it's been amazing, It's just, got to be grateful for it.
Kevin, tell us a little bit about Selton, not just his ability as a player, but for a man who has been through everything that he's been through, and his ability to maybe explain that and give perspective to others on the team as well.
Well, I think that was one of the main things, looking back at last season. We were so young. We had 6 freshmen on the roster. And with the guys that we had coming back, it was really important for us to get guys that were mature, guys that had been through some things, but also had a great vision for where they wanted to go. And that's what I loved about Selton is, obviously we know his background, but he has a really good vision for where he wants to be and where he wants his team to go, where he wants his career to go. And I love being around guys that have such a vision, such motivation to get to where they want to get to.
What's his skill set?
Yeah, he's a bucket getter. It's the
he
one
likes
thing,
that, by the way. He likes that description.
It's the one thing I love about him is he can make guys better. But again, where we struggled last year with only having Jameer trying to be the main playmaker. Selton's a guy that we can give the basketball, don't have to call a play for. he's going to get someone either a shot or he's going to get a shot off, which, again, last year was something that we really struggled with. And I told Selton when, the recruiting process and the portal is not overly long anymore, but you're going to, I'm going to let you kind of be who you are. And, who he is really good. And I'm not going to put any restrictions on him. And he's going to get guys better. I think, he has a reputation for a guy who can score, but he's also a great passer and has a great feel for the game.
Julian, you're a guy who plays with a lot of emotion. How much does that emotion fuel what you do? And do you find that there are times when you have to balance it out and make sure you rein the emotion in to make sure that it's the good kind of emotion and not the kind that can get you in foul trouble or other kind of issues?
Yeah, I like how you said just ranging it a little bit better, handling it a little bit better. That takes it back to the question about leadership. I feel like me being a leader, I got to balance those emotions and kind of control those emotions a little bit better, stay on the floor a little bit longer. And I feel like that's a part of the growth I've been going through. And Coach Willard has been a good teacher with that. And I've just been learning over the summer and just getting better with it.
Do you feel it in the moment, or are there ever those moments where you go back and you watch highlights and you're like, man, I didn't realize I was that fired up after that particular bucket or that particular play?
Yeah, definitely. I've watched a couple and ones and said, wow, what was I doing? Just been tripping.
That's all right, as long as you get the N1, but no T to go along with it. All's good. Obviously, these guys are veterans. They've been around the block. But there's a lot of talk about Derik Queen coming in as a young guy who was the co-MVP of the McDonald's game, and his skill set widely considered one of the best recruits in the country this season. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, DQ is an old school type of player. He's not going to wow you with dunks or running the floor. He's kind of one of those guys that has an unbelievable feel for the game. He's a terrific passer, can score down the low post. And I think really what's kind of special and why I bring up leadership with Julian is Julian's kind of taking him under his wing a little bit and kind of been like, all right, you're going to get double teamed. Here's some reads, what you're at. And I think Derik's one of those young men I think everyone's going to really enjoy watching play because he plays the game of basketball with such joy and has such a great feel for the game.
What other guys on this roster do you think may be ready for whether it's a breakout season under your tutelage at Maryland or other transfer guys that may come in and have immediate impacts?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm excited about Deshaun Harris-Smith. I mean, he went through it a little bit as a freshman, but he had a really good freshman year when you look at his numbers and the amount of minutes he played. He's really worked hard on his shooting in the offseason. I think he's going to take a big leap. And I'm excited about Jacoby. I think Jacoby Gillespie is one of those guys that's going to really help these guys make their life easier. And I think that's something that our roster is very balanced. Everyone complements each other. We don't really have duplication. That was something that I didn't want to do in the portal. So, again, I think this roster is deep. I think everyone's going to help each other get better. And obviously, they better make shots or I'll have literally no hair left.
There's so much talk, Kevin, about the travel, and I know coaches are kind of downplaying it. Everybody has to do it basically at the same time frame, especially the schools that aren't located on the West Coast. But there is a tough schedule awaiting everybody, not just you, but everybody in this league plays a monster schedule. Do you try to look at it in pieces? Do you try to look at it as one game and not worry about the Big Ten until you get through non-con? How do you approach that as a staff?
No, I mean, I think the biggest thing I've learned in this conference is you better be ready for your two early Big Ten games, where in other conferences you can play 7-8 games and kind of ease into it. You get hit in the mouth pretty quick.
You get Ohio State and Purdue in your first two.
Yeah, I mean, this conference loves me, and then it's, we have 3 in a row, which is tough. The one thing I've explained to Mick, and Mick Crow and I are good friends, there is not an easy home game, an easy road game. It's I think it's the coolest thing about this conference is every place you go to in this conference, it's really hard to win on the road. I think it's what makes this conference great, is that they have great fan bases, but it's also what makes it really hard to win it is the fact that it doesn't matter what time of day, where you're at, you're going to have a sold-out crowd, and it's tough to win.
Now, that being said, from a player's perspective, I know you love playing at the Xfinity Center and being in College Park, but how much more special is it when you go on the road, especially one of those tough venues, and maybe quiet that crowd?
It's an awesome feeling to quiet that crowd, especially when the crowd is so confrontational with the players. They like to get in with the players and, just get to score a bucket and just look at them right in their face and just turn up a little bit. So, yeah. That's just one of the best feelings as a player, going to an away game, especially 2 back-to-back away games, and handling business and going home on a happy flight. Not on the other side, I've been on the other side of that where guys quiet on a plane and it was just not a good feeling.
Obviously, you're not the only Reese that we've known to play with some emotion. How often did you get to watch this summer in Angels WNBA rookie season before, obviously, the injury that ended her year?
You know, I got to get to a couple games. I got to the Washington Misses game, and I traveled to New York for one of the games. So it was great seeing her at the highest level. I'm super proud of her.
Yeah, played an unbelievable level of basketball. Selton, I'm curious, as reading your bio, you speak 4 different languages, all fluently?
Not French.
Okay, French a little bit, but 3 fluently. I'm guessing you don't get to try them out a whole lot in College Park.
Not really. I mean, sometimes, you know, I speak Portuguese with my family, and then I got to speak Spanish with my family, but English the whole time because I'm in the States. So basically, sometimes I get confused because there's so many languages.
Are you doing the Babel thing or Rosetta Stone to help him out a little bit?
No, man. That's just an excuse for when he turns it over. He's going to say I was thinking in French or something. I mean,
he's going to say something in Portuguese that you don't understand that's bad about you.
I'm okay with that. As long as I don't understand it, he can say whatever he wants to be about me.
I know a lot of guys here from foreign countries away from their home say the one thing they miss the most other than their family is food. Anything, I mean, the D.C. area, DMV in general, is known for having a lot of different ethnic cuisines. Do you get to try any nearby?
Yeah, I get to try some kind of Portuguese food around DC area that I tried. It's really good. So I'm around some good food around there. So it's been good.
All right. Well, it is around lunchtime, so I think that's the perfect time to end. Kevin Willard, Selton Miguel, Julian Reese here to represent Maryland Terrapin basketball. Guys, truly appreciate the time. Best of luck this season.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.